What's up, everybody? We are here with Steve and Eric from Eric and Kallman at the beautiful Majestic Hotel on the Croix here in Cannes. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing, what brought you guys out, and tell me a little bit about your shop.
All right, well, what we're doing. So we're 9 years old.
Nice.
And we haven't come to Cannes. This is the first time.
Wow.
I haven't been here in 11 years. I used to be at Crispin.
Nice.
To be at Crispin, so it's changed a lot.
I can imagine.
The beach is amazing, all the build up there. So I don't recognize stuff, but there's still a lot that we love that is the same as 11 years ago. So that's good. But we've never gone. So this year we got the opportunity to come and do some speaking. Beautiful. And meet some clients and things like that. So it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your shop? You mentioned you guys are 7 years old.
Yeah.
You want to tell me, just a little bit about, who you guys are and your background, and then what's your superpower? What makes you different than other agencies? Yeah,
well, we're 9 years old.
Nice.
We started, both of us, my partner and I, Eric Kallman, we came from the big creative shops.
Nice.
I was at Crispin right previously as president of Crispin Porter, all 9 offices.
Wow.
Globally, working on all kinds of different businesses, Burger King, Microsoft, American Express, just very wide range. And before that I was at Chiat, and I was at the Martin Agency. Yep. My partner, Eric Kallman, was at White & Kennedy and Martin F. Graff and Chiat New York. I was in LA. And he had done all the writing and creative directing on stuff like Old Spice, The Man Your Man Could Smell Like. He wrote that with Isaiah Mustafa and the Terry Crews character. Did a lot of stuff for Little Caesars, a lot of humor.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff that broke through culture.
Pretty famous.
Yeah. And he won a lot of awards here back in the day. But we both were at big agencies. I was at Crispin, holding company agency. I was at Crispin and he was at Goodby.
And then when you went with MDC, and now it's Stagwell.
Yeah, and so after Rob Riley left and went to McCann, we needed a new chief creative officer in the Boulder office, and we offered Eric the job. That's when I met him. We'd never worked together. We offered him the job. He turned us down. He went to Goodby. He spent about a year and a half there. About a year and a half later, I left the MDC organization. I left Crispin. And a mutual friend said, hey, you guys should start an agency, because we were both trying to figure out what we were going to do. We were talking to other partners and things. We got together, had lunch, and said, let's just do this.
Nice.
So that was 9 years ago.
Match made in heaven.
It was crazy, but we'd never worked together. So, and we also didn't want to live in the same city, not because we didn't want to be together, but he wanted to live in San Francisco with his family. I wanted to live in LA, right? I just moved my family. And so it was a remote thing. And it was just us and one other person. And the whole idea was that we would use freelance talent, because our thoughts were that we were spending so much on freelance talent at Crispin. When I was there, we still had a huge creative department, strategic department, but we were still hiring freelance talent because they were better, because they were great.
So the hired guns, they're the ones that have the better
So we're like, listen, we'll have a better agency if we just do that. But as we got AOR business, we found that a lot of clients, obviously, they want their person.
Yeah, they want cohesion. They want somebody to call.
So then we started to hire full-time people. So now we're about 50 people 9 years later. We're in 2 offices. We're in San Francisco downtown, and we're in Austin, right down on 6th Street, right in the middle of all the muck. Opened that up a year ago. I'm in LA, and we've got about 5 other people in LA. We've got a few people in Boulder, ex-Crispin folks. So we're a little bit distributed, but what's great with that model is we didn't miss a beat during COVID. It's like we knew how to work remote already because we were remote since our inception. So we've gotten less remote, but we're still really very comfortable with it. Even though we've got 30 people in one office and 15 in another.
Love it. So what brought you to Cannes this year? I know you mentioned you guys had some speaking opportunities. So have you already done your talks, or are they coming up? We did talk yesterday. There's one tomorrow, and some interviews and things like that. It's more just getting back into the swing of things. Again, it's haven't been in 11 years, and never with the agency, but always met some great people, saw some fantastic work. It's just getting more involved in the community, and also. We've not done much international work. We've done a little bit of work in Asia, but both of our histories are doing a lot of international work. So it's also trying to meet a lot of those. Into those markets.
Exactly.
So you can build those relationships.
Yeah.
What was your talk yesterday about?
I was on a panel with a few other small agency people and with Little Black Book. Nice. And we talked about, the main thing was about AI and how it's changing each of our businesses and things like that, and how you feel about it and what the issues with it, but also it's a small agency kind of conversation. So it was all over the place.
So what's your creative take on AI? You a fan? You think that it's a hype cycle? What's your hot take?
Yeah, I mean, my hope is it's a hype cycle, but I don't think it is. I think it's some of these guys that are developing these things are out to put us all out of jobs. That's their stated goal.
You heard the Mark Zuckerberg comment the other day: swipe your credit card and we'll do the rest.
It's just so it's like, okay, great. How's that going to work? Yeah. But it's we're using it quite a bit, nowhere near as much as the guys on the cutting edge, and that's something I also am here for, is just to meet people that actually are deeply into it and can help us.
Yeah. What's the actual practical use case for agencies versus the hypothetical?
Yeah. It depends on who you're talking to. So for like strategy and account, it's getting up to speed a lot quicker. It's just being able to consume a lot more data than you could in Google search or whatever it is. From a research standpoint, having all these research all these either questionnaires or interviews done, and be able to compile them, and in 5 minutes I can have 10 bullet points on what 1,000 people think versus weeks.
The synthesization of data,
exactly.
But also from the research and strategy perspective, instead of relying on panels or focus groups or surveys, you can just look at everything everybody is saying about your brand on social, but not just in audio, but it'll pick up not just what they're writing about your brand. If your brand logo shows up in a video, if somebody says something in audio, but it doesn't get clipped by the closed captions, it's pretty amazing to have this kind of world of UGC content creation or brand-driven conversation that can just be all synthesized and A/B tested against competitors and tell you if a product launch is going in the right direction. I mean, it is freakishly awesome for the consumer insights piece.
Yeah, it really is, and we're just on the periphery. We haven't gone really deep in it yet. So that's something that we're interested in and seeing what we can do. There's whole personas that are being built where you can ask the persona questions and not even ever have to talk to a consumer.
Digital twin,
right?
Correct.
And so I'm hearing great things about it. I'm also hearing like a lot of false positives kind of thing. So we'll see. We haven't done that yet,
as they call them.
Yeah, exactly. So we haven't done that yet. From a creative standpoint, we're using it mostly for comping. We're a creative shop, a strategy and creative shop mostly. So we don't ever want to use the concept, but we're using for comping. So if we've got scripts that have gotten together, instead of taking days to put together storyboards or whatever it is, we can turn that around in no time. Fast, So we're built on speed. You talked about superpower. One of our superpowers is great work at speed. And we've always been faster than anybody else. We turn around briefs in a matter of days. We turn on work in a matter of 10 days versus 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So all of our people can work at speed. This has only hyped that up even more. Wow. But I mean, the competitive issue is it's also made everyone else faster. Yeah. So while we were, so much faster, now, it could be taking some competitive advantage away. So we're trying to figure that out. And then from a production standpoint, we're now able to get very close. We can do storyboards a lot quicker, very close to getting to a place where we can quickly turn around actual rips, actual films that we can present to the client instead of reading a script or whatever it is. It's not great
give them
yet.
A film concept as kind of a maybe not to the shot level, but it at least gives them an idea of what they should expect to see in motion versus stills. Or
we do a lot of work too. So we never do less than 3 campaigns when we go to a client. So we'll have 10 days, we'll do, let's say 3 campaigns, each with 6 different scripts in there, let's say. So it's 18. And usually it'll be a script and a key frame. We're getting to a place where we could have 18 different small films that are 30 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever that mimic a spot.
Crazy.
So that's very exciting because I think that's going to be an advantage for us. But again, because we work so quickly and have so many ideas, it's going to be almost overwhelming, hopefully in a good way.
Yeah.
The other piece in production is just, actually getting to a place where we could use what is created by AI to also just do much more and do it faster. This is nothing that you don't know, but we've got an automotive business that we work with. It's going to be very easy to take, the rendering of a car and say, have it somewhere going through snow, and then completely turn it, and then completely turn it and have it in the desert. So it's not going to really help some of the production companies that are all practical, but it's really going to make the work a lot more interesting.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's exciting. Yeah. Well, I think you have a healthy, creative viewpoint on the things that are going to make our jobs easier, but not take the heart and soul of the industry.
I hope so. But it's in the talk I did yesterday with the others, there's some feelings that it is going to take away that you don't need folks like us anymore. Wow. One of the things we talked about that I brought up was just what happens with young talent. Because young talent now, the entree into agencies and marketing is these entry-level jobs. Yeah. Well, AI is doing all of that now, and it's only going to get better at it. So where do you get talent from? Because it's like, okay, well, you don't have young talent. It's like, yeah, but who then is the middle and the high? Where do they get the training?
Yeah.
So that's something I'm a little bit concerned about and want to figure out.
Yeah, I don't think you're the first one to mention that. I've talked to quite a few people. There is training and learning by osmosis that happens in doing the grunt work, you know, whether it's designing proposals, doing media plans, coming up with, some of the tactical stuff is what gets you, and earns your chops.
The whole thing, it's like in Hollywood, it's like I start on the mailroom.
Totally.
It's like, well, there's no mailroom anymore.
That's what I did. I went and got my executive producer's dry cleaning, stuff
exactly.
like that.
Right. And so there's that's really not going to exist. So it's a little bit worrisome, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Awesome.